Israel-Palestine is a story that I have never liked to comment on for a couple of reasons. I had some bad experiences trying to cover a couple of protests once upon a time that left a bad taste in my mouth. And the other thing is, it's a very, very complicated story with a lot of history, and I don't know anything about it. Like, I would love to just go there and learn more about.
I would love to go to Israel and learn. I'd love to go to Gaza and learn.
But this is an issue where I just don't like to get into. I found throughout my career that no matter what you say, unless you have it 100% nailed down, I understand that there are people who would like to hear from me on this issue, but I don't have a whole lot to add on this issue. I'd be regurgitating something that I got from somewhere else. And
Gavin, do you want to go ahead and round it out by watching Matt Taibbi faceplant on that issue? Just while we're on the topic of it, let's hear what brave, crusading fighter for truth and justice Matt Taibbi has to say when, asked to take a simple question about his position on Israel.
From one of his simps, too.
From one of his simps, exactly. Right.
And I do have to give some credit to Sabrina here. But yeah, Sabby here over on the Sabby Sabs podcast. If you guys have followed our channel for a while, you guys know that we don't agree with Sabby on everything or even a lot, frankly, at this point. I don't pay much attention to her content, but definitely got pretty cringe for a while there. Anyway, she had Matt Taibbi on. She's had Matt Taibbi on quite a few times. They seem to be really friendly. Sabby seems to be a big fan of Matt Taibbi's. But here she definitely seems noticeably disappointed in his complete refusal to give an actual answer. This is from about 7 days ago. I'm not sure how this escaped my attention because we probably would have covered it a little bit sooner if I had noticed this. But holy shit, guys, just watch the way Matt Taibbi squirms. I have never seen a professional journalist this afraid of giving his opinion on something that at this point almost everyone has an opinion on. Like, how long ago was October 7th? It's about to be October fucking 2025.
Yeah, like, you know what I'm saying? Ago.
Or 2024. I mean, it's a long time has gone by. If you still haven't developed an opinion, if you're still just like, I don't know what's going on, I'll leave that to the experts.
Well, it's I haven't really taken. I'm a guy that likes to stay in my lane, and I've been working on the Twitter files. And when I was coming up as a journalist, you had a beat, and you followed it, and I've been following this beat, and I've lost a lot of hair and friends and family and cousins and uncles, and I just keep soldiering on. And when you ask me if I have an opinion about the number one defining issue of our times, I just have to plead the fifth and say, it's really complicated, and I don't want to alienate my reader base and have to stand for something. After losing my tie to Elon Musk, it's not exactly the most stable line of work. I'm an independent journalist now. I don't have the luxuries of army of attorneys like maybe some people in mainstream media like CNN have. I work for Substack, so I'm not really sure why you're even asking me about this. I mean, I thought I was coming over here to talk about free speech and censorship, and I'm pretty incensed about this because you keep asking me to take a position on something that I know is going to piss off people no matter what I say. And I think you're jeopardizing my business model, and I just think that in the rich tradition of journalists that I'm trying to follow, like Ben Shapiro or Tucker Carlson, I would neglect to give you any kind of a straightforward answer on that subject matter.
Yeah, dude. I mean, I don't even think we have to watch the clip anymore. You guys,
I haven't even seen the clip yet. I just read the fucking post of that. I'm guessing that's about how it goes.
Oh God, you're so right. And this is actually a two-parter. This is the first of two clips. So let's take a look, guys. This is gonna be tough.
I want to get your opinion about the war in Gaza. How do you feel about what's happening there? There was just a statement from the Pentagon released that they do not consider to be what's happening in Gaza genocide. I strongly disagree. But how do you feel about that, and where do you stand on this particular issue?
Humiliating.
probably generally in agreement with you. Israel-Palestine is a story that I have never liked to comment on for a couple of reasons. I had some bad experiences trying to cover a couple of protests once upon a time that left a bad taste in my mouth. And the other thing is, it's a very, very complicated story with a lot of history, and I don't know anything about it. Like, I would love to just go there and learn more about.
I would love to go to Israel and learn. I'd love to go to Gaza and learn.
Like Ukraine, I know a lot of that stuff. I lived in that part of the world for a long time. But this is an issue where I just don't like to get in the. I found throughout my career that no matter what you say, unless you have it 100% nailed down, you get in trouble somewhere.
100% nailed down. So who has it 100% nailed down then? Like, who's this person that you're referencing who's never been criticized because they're just so fucking perfect on the subject matter? Like, and if that's the case, then just have that person's opinion. Just adopt their perspective if they have it 100% nailed out. You know what I mean?
The fact that it took, like, Sabrina, shout out to you for having Matt on and exposing his stupid ass like this. But this is the kind of, like, this is the new left that you're trying to support, that we warned you about over and over again. And I see the look on your face. It's the same look on your face you had when you interviewed Nick Brana and you realized the Vanguard was right all along. So when you get this piece of content suggested to you, maybe click on it and maybe be like, damn, those boys were right all along.
Yeah. Also, the other crazy thing about this, as Isaac points out, it goes on, by the way, don't go anywhere, guys. This only gets like 10 times more embarrassing in like 3 seconds. But yeah, Katie Halper got fired a year before October 7th. Matt Taibbi was co-host with Katie Halper on Useful Idiots, like not even 3 years ago. I'm pretty sure Matt Taibbi came on to Useful Idiots at the time after Aaron Mate had already taken over the co-hosting duties, but I'm pretty sure he came on to discuss that whole censorship situation with Katie Halper, his friend and former co-host. He definitely was aware
about
like
the Modi censorship. He forgot. He said that he was prepared to speak about it when it became, economically unviable.
Yeah. Anyway, I don't want to filibuster for too long. This, like I said, gets even worse.
And I just don't know enough about it to feel like I'm really an authority on it.
You get in trouble about it with who? Zionists?
Anybody. I mean, I don't feel like I have an obligation to talk about things that I haven't covered. You know what I'm saying? Like, there are issues that I spend a lot of time on and comment on a lot.
Okay, sorry. Last time I'll pause it, but I just want to clarify that generally, in principle, I kind of agree with what he's saying. Like, if there was just some situation going on in like Yugoslavia with some rebels or something, and you were like, "Hey, Matt Taibbi, what's your opinion on this?" And expect him to know everything that's going on.
He obviously would probably offer an opinion, which is what's hilarious about this. But go on.
Yeah, like, I mean, you couldn't expect just any random person to know everything that's going on around the world, every bad thing that's happening. But what is Matt Taibbi's like main beat? It's censorship. It's talking about the First Amendment and social media censorship, stuff like that. What was the whole fucking Twitter files about? And what's the number one issue that people are being censored on behalf of right now? Come on, we all know what the answer to that is.
Twitter.
Matt, you know what the number one driving force behind censorship in this day and age is? Of course it's Israel. We all know that.
That would have been, yeah. And again, I haven't seen this. Maybe Sabrina does come in with that. That's the only response I could say. I feel like is the appropriate response to this reaction is to say, wait, I just meant in, because you have to catch Matt and make it seem like you're like teeing this up for him. Otherwise he'll start throwing a fucking tantrum because he's a toddler and petulant little bitch. But, you have to be like, oh, you've been covering this as your number one issue of censorship, right? Like, wouldn't you agree this is the primary example of our times for censorship? And then you get to have another clip of him saying, no, it's my work at Twitter, man. Well, I work for the richest man in America.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, even if he doesn't give a shit about Palestinian people being slaughtered, which is despicable, even if that's the case, he should still care about the Americans that are getting censored for speaking out about it. That's his whole fucking shtick, right?
Anyway,
because I've covered those issues, I've made phone calls on those issues. Like, I feel like I know what I'm talking about. And with Israel and Palestine, there are elements of that story that make me uncomfortable, and I just,
the backlash.
The world can go without my opinion on that matter, I think.
I think I disagree with that, Matt. I think genocide is a serious, serious issue.
We were talking shit. Good for her.
Yeah, she actually did do a really good job in this.
I think I disagree with that, Matt. I think genocide is a serious issue. I'll tell you, Glenn Greenwald told me one time. He said, "No one is an expert at everything." Like he had warned me about this. He said, "Nobody is an expert at anything. I don't care how long you've been doing this."
She's like, Glenn warned me about your bullshit talking point.
Bro.
Stupid excuse.
Dude, that's hilarious. My job is to get stuff right and not get stuff wrong. LOL.
This keeps going, guys.
Comfortable covering. There's an issue that I don't know much about or I don't feel comfortable covering, I reach out to people who are experts on that issue. I think it would mean a lot to, especially a lot of people watching, to hear, how you feel about what's happening, because a lot of people do see you as a prominent voice in independent media, and they do value your work. And I don't think that you should have to be afraid of the pushback that you're going to get. Just look at people like Aaron Mate and Max Blumenthal, for example. They get a lot of pushback. People smear them all the time, but that doesn't stop them from speaking the truth.
Right. I just can't stress enough. There are things about this story that make me nervous. I feel like, it's the first rule in medicine is do no harm. So if I don't say anything, I'm not doing any harm.
No, Matt, let's say this. You've got people dying on the streets. You've got people fucking missing limbs. You've got babies that have got half their sides laying off and bombs falling from the sky. And, Matt's just sitting there sipping his espresso, eating a ham and cheese sandwich, being like, hey, guys, I'm not a doctor. Dude, wait. Okay. I'm over here. I did what they told you to do, guys. I got to safety. Okay, I'm over here at safety. I understand that's a little boy dragging his mother. I'm not sure if she's alive right now. But what am I supposed to do? I've never performed a tourniquet. I've never had to administer medical aid. Boy, I'm just like the real life version of the Phil Collins song. I saw you there. I just saw the dude drowning. In the air of the night about that guy who could have saved that other guy and didn't. Anyway, that's a fake rumor, but before the internet, so now it's true. It's canon.
To get stuff right and not get stuff wrong. So, I understand that there are people who would like to hear from me on this issue, but I don't have a whole lot to add on this issue. I'd be regurgitating something that I got from somewhere else, and I'm not a news service.
The Twitter
I sort
files?
of disagree with that whole.
Yeah, like literally like the Twitter files.
Walked into that one, buddy.
Whole conception. Like, there are 2 or 3 things that I spend a lot of time on because I cover them over and over again. I'm constantly talking on the phone with people, and this issue just isn't one of them. I know that people feel like that's ducking, but
it is ducking.
The way it is.
That's the way.
Well, you're a parent, Matt, right? Like, so you're a dad. How do you feel about the children? How do you feel about the kids that have been killed in Gaza?
A good job, good, but again,
not good.
I don't want to talk about this whole thing. I just don't.
He doesn't want to say that he opposes the fucking slaughter of children. He's too fucking cowardly. Yeah. What a little bitch.
And again, all he has to say is like, even
horrible.
If you don't want to condemn it, just be like, I think it's despicable that people are being censored for speaking out about this. I'm not a foreign policy expert, but it's absolutely wild the amount of influence that Israel wields over our media, politics, culture, etc. Like it would be such an easy answer that I feel like would appease this audience for the most part. But he can't even say that. He can't even offer the slightest, most mild criticism of Israel, even though his own friend and own co-host, Katie Halper, got fired for calling Israel an apartheid state a year ago. He still has been sitting there on his ass, twiddling his thumbs and sucking Elon Musk's cock to the extent that he can't fucking pull up a news article about the genocide that's unfolding before all of our eyes. Are you kidding me? Like, what?
Bro, this is expert from Sabby. Great job. We've criticized Sabby a ton. This is our time to give her flowers because she shows the world Matt Taibbi's ass expertly.
Yo, this is really good stuff. Let's go back just a few seconds and hear the rest of this.
I want to talk about this whole thing. I just don't. I mean, it's not a news story that I would voluntarily talk about. Let's put it that way. If I went there and did a story, then
I went
that
there,
would be
maybe hang out with Michael Rappaport.
Right now, it's everybody.
A couple of
I just
beach
don't feel like I need to be in the middle of it. There are a lot of people talking about it already. I just don't want to chime in.
Yeah, man. I think there's a lot of people out here that are already talking about that. Nobody has gotten in on the right wingers are being persecuted. Beat. That's crazy. You're the only one out there. He's shouting in the void. Nobody's been talking about how you just can't, do comedy like you used to, Gavin. Boy, I'm so glad that he's decided what's important to him.
If only the left had the comedic chops of Greg Gutfeld, would be winning again.
Yeah, I wish the left had comedians. Too bad the left outlawed comedy, and now all of the good comedians,
went to
famous
Austin, Texas.
Yep, famous comedians. They're all going to Austin, Texas.
Thank God. Left where you're allowed to be a comedian.
Yeah, well, they won't let you film any of their acts bombing.
Yeah, so embarrassing. And again, I understand if Matt Taibbi or someone like Matt Taibbi, who's like a Substacker, like Sabby wasn't asking him to go write a whole piece about it. Like she wasn't asking him to go undercover in the IDF and expose them like Hunter S. Thompson, Hell's Angel style or something. Like she wasn't giving him like a journalistic mission. She was interviewing him. And usually when you're being interviewed, people tend to ask you questions. They tend to pick your brain and say, hey, this is going on right now. What do you think about that? Like that's all it was. And he's like, well, what do you expect me to have an opinion? Like, would you expect me to have thoughts in my fucking brain as a thinking adult human being who does this for a living? Like, yeah, we do expect you to have an opinion. And again, even if you're not a foreign policy expert, multiple times throughout your career, you've criticized censorship, especially when it comes to anti-war positions. You've talked endlessly about the censorship that occurred after 9/11 in American media. You've talked to people like Jesse Ventura on your show and asked them about their experiences being censored by mainstream media as a direct
Talk
result.
about how Noam Chomsky was your fucking hero. I know you've read Noam Chomsky.
Your fucking Hate was basically a modern day, like, reinterpretation.
Way less
good version
dense,
of
way more readable, just to give everybody their flowers.
Version of manufacturing consent. Yeah, he's not above like taking inspiration from someone else. But anyway, pathetic stuff. Completely. Yet another new low from Matt Taibbi.
Always in decline, never hitting bottom. Oof.
Yep.